Howdy ho, my crafty friends. This is Lori at the Ladybug Journals, and we are on to part 2 of our little green journal. Here she is, and you'll notice she's got a couple of holes punched in her. That one's a little whompadoodle. That's okay. You'll also notice she's got a cover here on the inside. Everything dried after being under books. So I wanted to go on and get the insides covered with paper so that we could go on and punch some holes. And I'm going to show you how I measured out for these and how I got these done. I didn't want you to have to sit while I punched all these bazillion holes. So what I did was I measured the inside of our book. Now, if you'll remember, the inside of our spine is this part. Okay, so I measured right here between the fold, okay, right here where my ruler's laying and wiggling. I measured between there, and then I cut a piece of paper the length and the width right there of that floral paper, okay, and then I folded it in half this way. And then I folded it in half this way. That's all I did. Now, that gives me my center hole. I always put a signature center. Always. Not everybody does. I think most people do, but I know I do. And then I put a dot. And then I put a dot. And I'm going to show you where these other dots came from. And I always, whoops, I got it upside down. And then I always put my bottom signatures 3/4 of an inch up, and I think that's what these are. Hold on here. They are, oops, they're 1/2 inch up, and they are I hate this mat. I can never measure right on it. And they are 3/4 of an inch down. I always put my signatures the same. So they're 1/2 inch up, 3/4 of an inch down. And sometimes I do the same, but the reason I do them different is so I can tell top from bottom. And then I always put a T for top. Okay? In case I'm grabbing this real quick and I'm not paying attention, my top has a T. And then on the back of this, I'm going to write little green journal, and I'm going to write all the measurements on here because I'll keep this just in case I ever want to refer to it again and I ever make a journal this size again. So then after I'd made my folds, I took this and I took where I had my center dot, and I found a number on my mat. Any number, it doesn't matter. Pick your favorite number. And I laid it down on that number right there. So I'm picking number 5 because that's the number that happens to be in front of me right now. So I put that dot on number 5. And the reason I put it on a number is it's just easier to do that way. Okay. And then I said, okay, so I want it in between here and the end. So I said, I'm going to count out 3. 1, 2, 3. 3/4 of an inch on this side. 3/4 of an inch on this side. And then I did the same thing at the top. I folded it, laid it back on my number 5, counted out 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Then I did the same thing in the center. Put it back on number 5. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Now, all of them are the same. Now, where's that line coming from, Miss Lori? I put my ruler there to draw down the center so I could see it better because I was having trouble seeing my fold with this light blue paper. So I just laid my ruler down like this, and I drew my dots. I just drew it down. I just went like this, just like this. That's all I did. I just drew the line down. Now, you can even draw them across if you want, if that helps you. See, you can just draw your line across like that. Of course, I would do it better than that. I would just line your ruler up and draw straight across. And on your fold, do the same thing. It just helps you see better. You know, where you folded, that'll just guide you from where you're seeing. See, that really tells me I'm Wampadoodled. So now the holes. Now I used my Crop-A-Dile Big Bite, and excuse me, I am so sorry, that one snuck up on me. I used my Crop-A-Dile Big Bite, and here, this is what she looks like. She is a very big girl, and she stays put safely away because this is my second one. I've been through 2 of them already. But she will give you, even people like me with weak hands, the strength of 10 men. And let me tell you, it feels good. So, but she also will, as well as punch. See, here's my punch coming down. If I want to set eyelets right here, let me show you. Hold on. If I scoot this all the way up, she will set eyelets for me right there. Regular shank, short shank, or long shank. I have used her many times for both of them. Okay, so to punch these holes, I'm using the 1/8, but she also has a 3/16 inch hole, which are your basic settings that your Crop-A-Dile has. The 1/8 and the 3/16. I'm using 1/8. So I took this and I lined it up on the top, just like this, and then I clamped it down. Okay, now I gotta line it back up here. Hold on. I clamped it down with one of my clamps on the top and on the bottom. This is how I got that one Wampadoodled. Because you can't put one of these under here. You can almost put a paper clip underneath it. Almost. You can't put a big paper clip under it, but the little ones you can. But I couldn't get a little paper clip over the book. So I start in the middle, and then I did the top and I did the bottom. So I'm going to show you how to do these remaining holes. So I'm back on my punch right there. So to get to it, I have to move this clamp. And to use this, I'm going to try this big one here. But I'm not going to move it all the way up, because I have to be able to get up underneath there without it wiggling on me. Okay, I'm going to try and line it up here and hold it with my hand. Now, the best way to see it is just to eyeball it. That's about all you can do. Where's my... Here it is. Now, I'm going to put it back on now that I've got it underneath it. Okay, so you eyeball it coming down onto those little dots that you made. Remember those dots we made? I'm eyeballing it. And I'm pushing it through. There we go. And it pushed all the way through the book. And I'm Wampadoodled. Okay, so I have to take this off, or I'm going to be Wampadoodled. Okay. So that's pushing me off of my mark. Oops. Okay. There you go. And it pushes through. And it makes a nice, neat little stack for you wherever you're punching. Don't put a piece of glass under you while you're punching, because it will break the glass. Okay, so after you've done that, don't get rid of this because you're going to need it. And I'm not worried about these being a little Wampadoodle because I've decided I'm going to put a piece of lace over this. Okay, I don't need that. Now, for my signatures. These posed another problem because my front page was this floral and my center page was this. And I was having a hard time seeing through it, you know, to get where I needed to be. So normally I say tap, 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 you know, the whole 9 yards. Well, you can't tap, tap, tap like this if this is folded. But I can tap, tap, tap that way. And I can clamp them down. And I can clamp over here. Now you have to remember where your fold is, where your main tie-in is on this. And you have to make sure you pull this down. See, I almost forgot. I had to punch through it. So if you have anything folded up in the center, you have to remember to unfold it. This one I can leave folded though. And I can hold it over here. Okay, so I have to punch through here. So I'm going to put this in here. Now you only punch through the middle. Okay, you're only going to punch through the middle. So I'm going to put small paper clips. And you fold it up. And you make sure that you're lined up where you need to be. See? Now, I can't see that very well. So, let's try it. Let me try it on the front and see if I can see it better. I have an idea. Let me see if I take my flower off. Because I can, this is thin enough, I can poke through it with my needle. Let me see if I can see it better like this. Where's my top? There's my top. Okay, let me make sure top is top. Okay, top is top. Okay. Top to top. Because if you punch them the wrong way when you go to sew them in, they won't match up. Okay, so let's make sure that this is falling into the gully. Now it's a gully. And I'm going to paper clip it down here at the bottom with just a little paper clip. I can sew through that. Let me try this to see if this works. That's what's in my way. Okay. All right, let's try this. Okay, so I have this lined up on the fold, and my fold is, and this flap is down. See, I've got it at the top. And we're going to try it again. All right, we're going to stick this in. Oh yeah, this little paper clip does well. We're going to start in the middle. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do the center hole first. Right. Trying to line it up here. Come on. Where are you? Okay. And then we're going to go to the top. And depending on the size of your signature, you can get up to a 7, what is that measure here? For a 1/8 inch hole, you can get up to a 6.5 inch long signature in here. And mine is a little bit longer than that. Okay. Now let's turn it around. All right, so I need to scoot this over here. And you're going to do this to all 3 of them. So whatever you do to get your holes in, you're going to do to all 3. Now, I've already punched the other 2. You know, I didn't want you guys to have to see me struggle with all 3 of them. There we go. Okay, there's the holes. Okay, and they went all the way through. Let me pull this off. And we're going to turn that over. And we're going to put this up here. Now, I'm not folding that back up because I still have to sew it in. Now this, like I said, we can stitch through this easy enough with our needle. So I'm moving this over here. Remember, that's there. Here's the other one. We don't need that clamp, but this one can fold back in now. Here's the signature for this one. We can take this little one off. And we can put a big one on here. Now's the time you decide where you want them. And I have a weird system. I signify mine with my paper clips. You know, I kind of put them in order. You know, 3, 2, and then the one I want at the first, I put at the top. Okay, so let me make sure I have everything the way I want it. Oh, I do know I have an envelope in them that I want to decorate. And I put a piece of mixed media paper in each of them. But here's the envelope that before we sew them in, I want to decide what I'm going to do with that envelope. So these are my signatures. I glued onto that page, this page. And then this will be the return side. So I want to make sure that I do something with my envelope first. I get it decorated. I don't have to fill it, but I at least want to get it decorated before we sew them in. Okay, so that's how I signify to myself the order of my signatures. 3, 2, 1. So when I get ready to sew them in, I turn them upside down. This will be the first one that I sew in. Okay, so let's clean this off here. So that's my way of preparing my signatures to go in. And then the only other thing I have to do now is we need to cover our envelope. And if we're going to do anything on our mixed media paper before we put it in, it might be easier to do that now, at least on one side, than before we get it in the book. But we also have in here, there's our envelope, there's our mixed media paper. You know, if you want to add anything else. If you do, now's the time to add it. But I wouldn't add anything big because you've already punched your pages. The only thing I would add might be something small enough that you can poke a needle through. But you can always, you know, like my floral page, you can always take your awl and poke through the other pages to get through it. So that's a quick, just something quick that now you can get your pages ready. And the next one we'll do is we'll get them sewed in and we'll go on and get our envelope covered. But I wanted to show you how I did that this afternoon. And I will see you in our next video. So, and it will be a little bit longer. We're going to sew them in. So to sew them in, you're going to need your needle. And I would probably go with, since our holes are very well defined, if you're punching them, a blunt-eyed needle will work just fine. This is a blunt-eyed needle. I think they call them darning needles. It's very blunt. It does have a little bit of a tip, but nothing that's going to, you know, poke you through. It has a very large eye. If you don't have one, whatever type of needle you have that will get your waxed linen thread or whatever type of thread you're sewing your signatures in with, you're going to need that. If you haven't punched your holes in yet, then you're going to need your awl. Some people call it their pokey tool. You're going to need that. And you're going to need to get your signatures together. So get your signatures together if you're crafting along with me. And get your book together. And we'll get all of our holes in. Get it, make sure it's dry really well, and get your holes in there. And if you have any questions on how to get your holes punched into your spine, if you don't have a Crop-A-Dile Big Bite, then just leave me a message below, and I'll be glad to help you with that. You can use your Crop-A-Dile to get the edges, but it's the middle that you can't reach with the Crop-A-Dile. But you can get this with your awl. It just takes a little muscle. So to do that, you'll need your awl, and you'll need something real foamy that you can poke into, like an old book. You know, like the old book that we've been using, this old book. See all the holes in it? You'll need an old book like this. Something that you're not going to use as pages. See my glue and punch book? That you can punch into like this, so it doesn't damage any type of properties. What I mean by that is like your desktop or your workspace, because you're going to want to put this under your book as you're poking it in. You want to protect your work surface, and you can poke your holes with that. You'll just poke in wherever you measure them out to be, by the way that I just showed you to do it, and you'll be ready to go. So I hope you guys are prepared and ready to go, and we can have some fun together, and you're creating a book with me. That sounds like lots of fun. So until I see you again in our next video, ta-ta for now.